All right, first rule of this channel, we not talk about this channel. Second rule of the channel, this is not legal advice. So this is going to be how the sausage was made for week 12 of fantasy football for you special people out there that like to listen to me look at the box scores when I get home and try and figure out what went on during the week. Yeah. So anyway, starting off right now, fantasy MVP for week 12 right now, going into the Monday night game, looks like it's going to be Saquon. He's probably going to end up being like fantasy MVP overall on the season if things keep going the way that they're going. And again, this is what happens when you chase legendary upside running backs versus like some of the other guys out there. So remember, the same process that'll win you a league will lose you a league. But when you hit, you hit, and that's what goes on with Barkley. So hopefully you're not like me and had to go up against Barkley because he hung like 44.2 points, 26 carries, 255 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, another 4 for 4 for 47 through the air. Yeah, that's what you had to go up against this week. And I had Jaden Daniels against him, so it didn't really matter when it comes down to that. All right. Some of the other ones that are out there, Mahomes actually came up and had a fantasy relevant week. Tua threw 4 touchdown passes. Caleb Williams, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about Caleb Williams and Anthony Richardson when I get to after waivers, because I haven't watched any tape on hardly anything today. There's Sam Darnold. He's going to be another league winner more than likely at the price that you paid. Bo Nix pops up. Baker May. There's Cooper Rush, by the way. I didn't even see that, quarterback 9 on the week. Other running backs that are notable: Josh Jacobs scored 3 rushing touchdowns. There's Bucky Irving. He may end up being one of those guys that's going to be on that short list because he may have been going undrafted in a lot of leagues that are out there. I'll try to see if there's other ones. Amir Abdullah, like I was wrong. I actually rolled out Dylan Labe. I thought that was going to be the guy. He gave me a goose egg. Amir Abdullah right now is running back 9 on the week. Jordan Addison, 8 for 9 for 162 and a touchdown as your wide receiver 1 right now. Scary Terry, we'll talk a little bit more about that one here in a second. He's wide receiver 7 on the week. And then tight ends, Noah Gray. Yeah, a lot to talk about there. 4 for 4 for 66 and 2 touchdowns coming off of last week. Some of the other ones out there. Hopefully some of you guys chased that dragon on Jonnu Smith. That's out there. So anyway, and then defensively, the Cowboys. I didn't even realize the Cowboys right now are defense 1 coming into the Monday night game, going up against the Commanders. I wouldn't have been rolling that one out. Neither of the Seahawks. The Texans were the predictive one on the week right now, going up against Will Levis. And then the Packers, I did see that in my less competitive league. Someone actually went out and picked up Green Bay. In that league, I had the Broncos going up against the Raiders. That's why I didn't pick that one up. But that was one of those ones learning. As soon as Brock Purdy was ruled out, I should have gone and picked up the block on that one, if not rolled them out in that one. So anyway, moving on to the box scores. Already talked about Steelers and the Browns. That was like a little bit of a snow game. Famous Jameis did famous Jameis things, and the Browns were able to pull that out in a very kind of, I would actually say, kind of special game when it comes down to Cleveland and the snow and just how it worked out in the end. And that one, Ravens and the Chargers are going to play on Monday night. Vikings and Bears, this was 24-10 heading into the fourth quarter. Vikings kicked a field goal, 17 points by the Bears. They tie it up. It goes into overtime, and the Vikings win in overtime on a field goal. That's how that one went down. Sam Darnold, 2 touchdown passes. I did see that he may or may not have a knee injury right now. I can actually go pull him up. That's why I have this thing here. So I can go pull this up. Did see that he got knocked out. Looks like he went back in. There's nothing else to really talk about that one. When it comes down to that, Aaron Jones, 22 carries to Cam Akers, 3 carries. So again, like trying to guess on some of these things, it looked like it was going to maybe turn into a 50-50 split, and it's obviously not at this rate. And then Jordan Addison actually outdoes Justin Jefferson, 5 targets to 9 targets, and then 8 for 162 and a touchdown compared to 2 for 27 for Justin Jefferson. TJ Hawk, 9 targets, 7 for 114 in this one, and then Aaron Jones falls into the end zone. Jalen Naylor also falls in the end zone. When it comes down to the Bears, there's Caleb Williams, 32 to 47, 342 touchdowns. He's the main rushing threat right now for them, like 6 carries for 33 versus like DeAndre Swift 13 for 30. And then Roshan vultures another rushing touchdown. That's going to get a little interesting, especially if you're trying to roll DeAndre Swift as a positional advantage going on out there. And then you can see on the corner right here the onside kick that the Bears were able to get, I think, late in the game. DJ Moore, 7 for 7 for 106 and a touchdown. And then Keenan Allen, 15 targets, 9 for 86 and touchdown. Didn't see that he had 15 targets. Rome had another 10, and I bet this was mostly air yards. And then Cole Kmet, 10 for 7 for 64. This was the idea that this is what the offense was going to be at the beginning of the year. This would have been league winner at this point. Like, I don't know how consistent this is going to be. And again, this is against a team in the Vikings. Like, when their blitzes do not land, they can get diced up. And that's kind of what it looked like happened later in the game. Did see some stuff in the game with Caleb Williams on the highlights. I will say that, like, he's good at football. That's all you got to know. You just have to be able to, as was told to me once in urban combat training, sometimes it's better to have those guys that you got to put like the leash on than it is to try and get those guys to get off the leash. So, I'd rather have that when it comes to Caleb Williams as a coach than the other guy that just won't push the football down the field. Lions and Colts, and this one, like, again, a little bit closer than the score would indicate. It was 14-6 at halftime. This is why I want to watch the tape on Anthony Richardson. And then you get 10 unanswered points for the Lions that are on out there. Did see that David Montgomery got knocked out with the shoulder in this one. Jared Goff, 26 of 36, 269. Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 rushing touchdowns on 21 carries. David Montgomery, 1 rushing touchdown. Again, he got knocked out. J-Mo did 7 targets, 5 for 64. Sun God, 7 targets, 6 for 62. Sam Laporta, he got dropped in my more competitive league, and I picked him up and rolled him this week with bye weeks. And the right decision was dropping Sam Laporta. The wrong decision was picking him up and rolling him this week when it comes down to that. For the Colts, you're looking at 11 for 28 for 172 for Anthony Richardson. Some of this was early. I did see that he was relatively better off earlier in the game than later in the game. So again, like, trying to break that stuff down. He did go 10 for 61 on the ground compared to Jonathan Taylor's 11 for 35. Michael Pittman, 7 for 6 for 96, and then 7 targets for Josh Downs. Did see that he got knocked out of this one. I'm going to go look that up if you're wondering about what's going on, and this is not the right guys. When it comes to Josh Downs, he got knocked out. Let's see, shoulder injury. It says right now, and Alec Pierce, 4 targets, 1 for 39, and then Adonai Mitchell, 3 for 1 for 10. Let's see, moving on. Patriots and Dolphins. 24-0 at halftime. Dolphins. That's all. That's basically all you have to know. 15 points in the fourth quarter for the Patriots in garbage time. If you're chasing that, Drake May throws a touchdown pass to Austin Hooper, and that's how that gets done. And that's basically all I really want to care about in this one. And he also does 5 for 26 on the ground. Pop Douglas, if you're chasing your 40-degree day, 7 for 5 for 62. And then Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry, both fantasy relevant days for tight ends. Austin Hooper, 4 for 59, a touchdown. Hunter Henry, 8 for 5 for 44. And Jalen Polk, Javon Baker did get a target in this one. That's more of like, interesting stuff for probably next year. Tua does throw 4 touchdown passes. Don't really care about any of the rushing game when it comes to the Dolphins. At this point, it's mostly all passing game. Jalen Waddle, the guy out there that asked me about, like, who should you be, like, rolling out this week. Hopefully you rolled out Jalen Waddle. 9 for 8 for 144 and a touchdown. Jonnu Smith, 11 targets for 9 receptions, 87 yards and a touchdown. A-Chain, 2 receiving touchdowns on his 4 targets. That's the long and short of it. And then Tyreek Hill, 6 for 5 for 48. If you're wondering, I did see that Jalen Wright did fumble in this game, so I don't know if that's going to necessarily change the dynamic between him and Raheem Mostert. Jalen Warren did have 7 carries also in this game. Probably more of a dynasty thing that's going to make that big of a difference from a redraft perspective. All right, Buccaneers and Giants. Absolute beatdown in this one. It was, 23-0 at halftime. And then the Giants did get it close. I was watching this. I did have my Tyrone Tracy shares. So he fumbled in the red zone when the game was already out of reach. And then they benched him. Probably looks like multiple series. And then he did finish the game off in this one when it comes down to that. And then there was Malik Neighbors. I did see the clip of him talking about, like, the game was already out of reach when he first started getting, like, actual opportunities in this one. Theo Johnson, this one did have a long of 23, 6 for 3 for 39. Again, that's probably more of a dynasty thing. Malik Neighbors, 9 for 6 for 64. And then Tyrone Tracy, 9 for 42, and then he fumbled one away. The rushing touchdown on 1 yard rushing touchdown goes to Devin Singletary, if you were chasing that one. And then Tyrone Tracy, this was mostly late in the game because I did see this on the ticker when I was like, great. Tyrone Tracy give me 2 points after the fumble. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 28 yards. That was like mostly garbage time. On the other side, Baker May, he does score on a rushing touchdown. Rachaad White gets a rushing touchdown. Sean Tucker gets a rushing touchdown. Bucky Irving gets a rushing touchdown. He does 12 for 87 compared to Rachaad White's 12 for 37 in this one. Mike Evans back from the hamstring, 6 for 5 for 68. There's Bucky Irving, 6 for 6 for 64 in the passing game. Everything else doesn't really matter. K. Dotton, like 3 targets, 1 reception, 30 yards. And then Rachaad White only had like 1 target, 1 for 10 in this game. Yeah, like very interesting stuff when it comes down to that. The other one was Jalen McMillan, if you would have been rolling him out as that wide receiver 3, 2 for 1 for 11. So hopefully you did not do that. Cowboys and Commanders. This one was wild because for the most part, as you can see at halftime, it's 3-3 at halftime. And then the Cowboys pull away, and I pull up the Gamecast to explain this one. Because, let's see if it'll work. The Cowboys actually were able to score late in the game on like basically a Hail Mary. And it wasn't a Hail Mary, but close enough for government work. So they score on a Hail Mary, and then they miss the PAT, and then they go for the onside kick against the Cowboys, and it's returned for a touchdown to end the game right here. So in the fourth quarter, you get a Brandon Aubrey 48-yard field goal, followed by Luke Schoonmaker 22-yard pass. So hopefully you rolled out your Luke Schoonmaker shares in this one. It's 20-9 with 5:16 left to go in the game. Zach Ertz scores with 3:02, 4-yard touchdown pass. Jaden Daniels runs in for the 2-point conversion. So now it's 20-17. Turpin returns the kickoff 99 yards for a touchdown. Kavonte Turpin, 27-17. Then the Redskins drive down. They kick a 51-yard field goal with 1:40 left to go in the game. That was on second down to save time on the clock. They get the onside kick, I think. I got to go look that up. Either that or they, see right here, or they actually stop the Cowboys on downs. Let's see. Punt. No, they stopped them on downs, it looks like. So then one play, 86 yards to Scary Terry, and then they miss the extra point. Then they kick the onside kick. That's returned for a touchdown, and then they get the ball back, and there's an interception. And I was actually wondering why I didn't get why Jane Daniels' points went down, because I was rolling him out this week, and this because he threw a second interception late in the game on that one. So again, that was one of the wild ones that was going on out there. I actually was watching the ticker as this was going on. So Cooper Rush throws 2 touchdown passes in this one. Rico Dowdle 19 for 86 in this one to go along with 3 for 12. That's about all I really care about. Like 12 targets for 10 receptions for 67 yards for CeeDee Lamb. 4 for 3 for 55 and a touchdown for Luke Schoonmaker. And then Jalen Tolbert does score a touchdown, receiving touchdown also. Brian Robinson Jr., B-Rob, he did go down in this game. I don't know what he got knocked out with. I will look this up right here. Eckler also went out with a concussion and ankle injury for B-Rob. So we might get Jeremy Nichols next week as a 1-week rental when it comes to the Redskins in this one. And then Jaden Daniels, he does score a rushing touchdown to go along with the 2 passing touchdowns, the 2 interceptions in this game. Scary Terry, 6 for 5 for 102 and a touchdown. Most of that was the 86 yards and a touchdown, in desperation time. And then Noah Brown, 10 for 6 for 71. Zach Ertz scores a touchdown pass, 2-point conversion on his 8 targets. And that's about it, other than there's Luke McCaffrey. If you're wondering about next year when it comes down to that stuff, probably not going to be fantasy relevant. Chiefs and Panthers, this is another wild one to be talking about. So right here, the Panthers actually score 10 points in the fourth quarter, 11 points in the fourth quarter, and tie the score up 27-27. And then Patrick Mahomes drives down, and they kick a field goal as time expires, 31-yard field goal to win the game. That's how it went. So as you can see at halftime, it's 20-9. Kansas City going relatively how we expect, and then the Panthers are actually able to claw back and tie the game up late. Let's see. Besides the Noah Brown touchdowns, and at this point, like I'm gonna say that Noah Brown may end up being somewhat fantasy relevant as the number 2 tight end behind Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce 8 for 6 for 62 compared to Noah Brown 4 for 4 for 66 and 2 touchdowns. That was coming off of last week. To pull him up, the 2 touchdown passes he had last week. Yeah. I don't know how much I'd be chasing that dragon, but like that's something to be thinking about. 3 touchdown passes for Patrick Mahomes. Probably the last week of Kareem Hunt, he had 16 for 68 to go along with 4 for 3 for 16. And then no one else that really matters. DeAndre Hopkins did have a touchdown catch in this game. Let's see. I don't see anything else when it comes to them. I was expecting a little bit more. I was expecting Jonathan Brooks to take over that 20 to 30% snaps for Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders did go on IR, and only 2 carries for Jonathan Brooks. I don't even think he had a target in this one. David Moore, and I did talk about this, like I would not be trusting the Carolina receivers. David Moore, 10 targets, 6 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown. And don't really care about the rest of the guys. 6 targets for Leggett, 4 targets for Adam Thielen being back. I do think that Jatavion Sanders got knocked out of this game also. Bring this one up. Yeah. Discharged from hospital with a neck injury. Wondering about that one. And that's how that game went down primarily. Chuba Hubbard touchdown and 2-point conversion also in this game. Let's see. The good news, I guess, for the Panthers is, if you can go out and roughly have Bryce Young get into a knife fight with Patrick Mahomes, that's at least telling you that, like, maybe you didn't throw all the draft capital away when it comes down to Bryce Young. So, Titans and Texans. This is one of the ones I'm just pulling up. Like, watching this game on the ticker early, it looked like the Texans were going to win this game. It was 20-17 Titans at halftime. And, the Titans were able to win this game. I thought last time I looked at this game, it looked like the Texans were pulling away late. And that's not necessarily what happened. I have no clue looking at this one. Shocked as DJ Stroud steps out game sealing safety at the end of the game. I have no idea about this one. Team safety with 1:13 left to go in the game, but down by 3. 70-yard touchdown catch from Chig for the Titans. Didn't see that one until like right now. So this was one of the ones like was not expecting this one. Pulling up the box score. Tony Pollard goes full bell cow, 24 for 119 and a touchdown. Will Levis 2 touchdowns, 18 for 24, 278. And then another 8 carries but only 10 yards in this one. Calvin Ridley 6 targets, 5 receptions, 93 yards. There's Chig 1 for 70 and a touchdown. And then Nick Westbrook-Akine again, like chasing the snap share and the opportunity, does get another touchdown catch. I think this is going to be like 5 out of 6 weeks or something like that he's had a touchdown catch. Yeah. So, like, I don't know how much I necessarily want to be chasing that 40-degree day floor. Because if he doesn't score a touchdown catch, I don't probably get anything out of him. CJ Stroud, 20 of 33, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Really disappointing day for Joe Mixon coming off that last week's performance, 14 for 22. Nico, 9 for 5 for 92 and a touchdown. Tank, 5 for 3 for 72. Cade Stover does score. This is probably more long-term. I would imagine this is going to be 2 years before he's fantasy relevant. He's going to really jump the line when it comes down to that. Because imagine that he may end up being the number 2 behind Nico attached to CJ Stroud down the line later on. Let's see. Going backwards. Broncos and Raiders. And so this is another one that I was looking at right before I went live. 13-9 Raiders at halftime. And again, they started Amir Abdullah. He had fantasy running back 9 on the week. Sincere McCormick that they signed to the practice squad this week. He gets the start, 5 for 33 on the ground. No Dylan Labe, doesn't even get a target in this one. Like again, like trying to guess what the fantasy gods are going to do and then being like completely wrong. Like, hey, I rolled out the wrong guy. There's Jaleel McLaughlin leads the backfield for the Broncos, 7 for 44. Audric Estime, 3 for 15. Hey, the fantasy gods, like, they don't care about us. Like, Javonte Williams, 8 for -2 this game after last week. And then Audric Estime, 3 for 15. Javonte Williams, 2 for 6. and Noah Stemme in the passing game. Bo Nix, 2 touchdown passes in the win. They both go to Cortland Sutton, 10 for 8 for 97. Vele, and this is one of the ones I'll have to be breaking down, 9 for 6 for 80 for Devon Vele in this game. I don't think there's anything else I really care about this. When it comes to the Raiders, and again, like second half of this game, you're looking at 20 points for the Broncos. That's how they pull away. They did pull Gardner Minshew again. They brought in Desmond Ritter. Gardner Minshew, 25 of 42, 1 touchdown interception. Desmond Ritter, 5 for 10 for 64 in this one. And again, Amir Abdullah does have a touchdown catch. And then Jacoby Myers, 15 targets, 10 for 121. Trey Tucker, we've already chased that one, 8 for 7 for 82. Brock Bowers did have 10 targets, only 4 for 38. And that's just basically how it rolls. Michael Mayer, 2 for 2 for 11. All right. 49ers and Packers. I did talk about this with how I saw the game flow going. And I don't quite understand why the 49ers would go with Brandon Allen as their starting quarterback over Josh Dobbs. You could say that Josh Dobbs has just as good a chance to lose you the game as he does to win the game. But in this case with like Brandon Allen, I was looking at the ticker on this one, not necessarily good. 17 for 29, 199, a touchdown interception. And again, this is a 38-10. It was 17-7 at halftime. And then Josh Jacobs falls in the end zone, 3 touchdowns. And this one, 26 for 109. Jordan Love, 2 touchdown passes. One of those went to, where is he at? Tucker Kraft in this one. That was an 11-yarder. Romeo Dobbs, 6 for 3 for 54. And the other touchdown catch went to Malik Heath. Who's that? I don't know if you're wondering. I think this is like wide receiver 6 or 7 when it comes down to hit. So like I'm a little surprised. Like looking at the snap shares, there's Bo Melton, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Ripps, Romeo. So your guess is as good as mine when it comes down to that. George Kittle, 6 for 6 for 82 and a touchdown. 7 more targets for Juwan Jennings, only 5 for 40. Christian McCaffrey, 4 for 3 for 37. Debo, 4 for 1 for 21. And then Ricky Pearsall, nothing as far as I can see right now. Christian McCaffrey, another 11 for 31. And that's basically how it goes. Emmanuel Wilson, 4 for 41. So this is another one expecting that you're going to get the usage flop as the handcuff behind Josh Jacobs. Chris Brooks, 4 for 11. Emmanuel Wilson does 9 for 41. And that's about it. There's Chris Brooks in the passing game, if you're wondering. And Christian Watson, Oford. I'll pull that one up to double check on that one. 4 targets, 1 reception, 1 carry for 4 yards for Christian Watson, and then 3 targets, no receptions in the passing game. If you're wondering about that one, let's see. Cardinals and Seattle Seahawks. This is one of the ones like I don't know how much I would have really trusted anything because of how kind of up and down both these teams have been on the season. Kyler just throws an interception of 24 for 37, 285. In general, the rushing game for the Cardinals, James Conner, 7 for 8 yards, and Trey Benson leads everybody 4 carries for 18 yards in this one. I don't think I saw anything about injuries. I got the Redskins pulled up still, but I didn't see anything when it comes to injuries when you're wondering about that. Trey McBride, 15 for 12 for 133. Yeah, he's the unicorn. Michael Wilson, 4 targets, 2 for 54. Marvin Harrison, 6 targets, 3 for 47. That's about that. And then if you roll out James Conner, 5 targets, 5 receptions, 41 yards on top of that. Over on the Seahawks side, Kenneth Walker, 16 for 41. Let's see. And then JSN, 7 for 6 for 77 and a touchdown compared to DK Metcalf, 5 for 4 for 59 in this one. And then AJ Barner did get another opportunity to be the number 1 tight end with Noah Fant being a scratch, and he didn't do anything. 4 for 3 for 19 also. And then finally, the Eagles and the Rams to finish off the week. And then, obviously, I already talked about this. Saquon Barkley, 26 for 255 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. And then he also does 4 for 4 for 47 in the passing game. A.J. Brown, 7 for 6 for 109 and a touchdown. It was 13-7 at halftime, and then the Eagles just dumped it on the Rams in the second half. Puka, 13 for 9 for 117. Cooper Kupp's 11 for 8 for 60 and a touchdown catch. Demarcus Robinson also got a touchdown catch in this one. And we got 1 carry for Blake Corum compared to Kyron Williams, 16 for 72 and a touchdown. I did see that Kyron Williams did fumble twice in the last one. Like, again, from a coaching perspective, just how some of these teams are doing their roster management stuff and their personnel management. Like, you look at like Tyrone Tracy, and he fumbles and you punish him, and then Kyron Williams has been like coughing it up all year, and you spend a 3rd round draft pick on Blake Corum, and you're just like, hey, I'm going to continue to trust the guy that's coughing this up when I spent draft capital on a guy to basically be the trustworthy back. And then you look at the Giants, they're like, well, we threw our season away. We threw our franchise away because we signed Daniel Jones to this contract. We let Barkley go. And then we're going to punish the rookie when the rookie is going to be the guy that we should just get through the growing pains. I just don't, again, this is some of the stuff like from, my life experience. Like, I don't understand the logic behind how to deal with some of these things from, the Monday morning quarterback perspective of going like, well, that makes sense. That's how I would handle that. I have no idea. Like, yeah, just keep letting the guy do the thing over and over again where he keeps fumbling the football. I can bring this one up. And then, not having, like, he's no longer the trustworthy back at this point. Like 5 fumbles on the season. You're looking at 3 lost at this point. Like, general rule of thumb for a running back is 2 fumbles lost on the season. That's the over underline. And now you're up to, was that 3? Yeah, 3 or 2 fumbles lost. No, they don't have the new one then. So 3 fumbles lost, and he's been coughing it up. Like, I don't know how you allow this amount of mistakes and still look at him as your trustworthy back. So anyway, that's my rant at the end of the sausage, and I will hopefully get everything done tomorrow. I might try the new method when it comes down to recording tomorrow night, and then trying just to backdoor the Monday night game at the end of after waivers, but I will get Chasing the Dragon out regardless. Anyway, Saquon Barkley, hopefully you didn't go against him. Hopefully you drafted him. Hopefully you win your league, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.